Hey everybody, it's Jillian. So I need to be very, very honest, actually, and very black and white, because the balance and the duality has to do with the intelligence of the body. The body will be able to balance out the positive and negatives, because the Trinity, since I am turning to using the Trinity as a way to explain a lot of my reasoning, the Trinity is action and reaction, and it is run by the balance of the intelligence. Intelligence, which is really the body's voluntary and involuntary mechanisms to determine what gets taken away, and then also what is added. So even you as an intelligent being will not really have the capability to really take away, because the body has an intelligence in of itself that is separate from what you think you can control. And so there's this word called biohack, okay? And biohack can be construed by so many different people in the holistic allopathic world. But when you think about it, biohack means that you are going in and hacking into a body by subverting some of the processes. Not so much at the root level and allowing the body to intelligently figure out what to add and what to take away. No, you're going in and tweaking hormones and tweaking things based upon your perception of what you think the outcome should be. And so in the health and wellness industry, there are many people who claim to be biohackers that will compartmentalize the microbiome, and they will claim that they can help with infection or imbalance or unbalanced energy by going in and taking certain things like a probiotic, like an antibiotic, and then try to attempt to tweak something by taking something away or even adding something that doesn't contribute to the intelligence. And so if you are in that world of health and wellness, selling the illusion of life, and you're not actually promoting Jilly juice, which I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be black and white, then you are promoting the death process. And I'm sorry, but it has to be very black and white, because you can't possibly know what to take away from somebody. You as a holistic professional do not have the capacity to know what a person can afford to have taken away. And so when you think about Jilly juice and the whole process of balancing out pluses and minuses, yes, you're bringing in the energy like Jilly juice and you're bringing the food supply, but the body has an intelligence that you can't even control all the mechanisms. You only can control what goes in and then helping stuff come out, like in your poop. And that is already when things have already been disseminated and distributed or redistributed based upon the intelligence of your systems. And so if you're going in and trying to manually take something away from from your systems using antibiotics and using yoga and using exercise and using whatever that you get certified in, then you're actually promoting the death process, because there's no possible way you can give life and take away life at the manual level and think that that's okay, because even me, like, I can't go into my heart and take away a blood vessel and add a blood vessel. It does it by itself. The only thing I could do is add food to my body, add an energy source like salt and water and probiotics, and then the body will figure out what to do with it. But as soon as you go in and you try to remedy a situation through exercise, I can understand stretching. I can understand, a little bit of that. I get all of the draw to having, a type of, cut body. I get that. But if you're selling something that is claiming to be life supporting and life giving, and you're not really adding an actual protocol that is going to support the evolutionary process and the pain process, then you're kind of like a biohacker. And so this is why I've been drawing the line a lot with people that are in my Jilly Juice world that are getting certified in a lot of their different holistic biohacking types of protocols, because it's like you're not promoting Jilly Juice to your world. You're keeping it very secret, and then you're getting certified with the government to be able to be state sanctioned, taken away from someone's life force. I mean, that it has to come down to those black and white types of processes. Like, I want to feel like I can work with the holistic world, but those two worlds, the world of Jilly Juice and the holistic allopathic world and all the stretching and yoga and all that stuff, they are actually diametrically opposed. Now, yeah, you could do Jilly Juice and do stretches and all that stuff, and that's your personal, that's your personal whatever, your personal choices. But when you're selling something as if what you're promoting, what you're selling is supporting life, when the end result is death, and you're not really adding anything. You don't add Jilly Juice to your platform. You're not even putting Jilly Juice on your actual, like, your process, and not only integrating it, but saying maybe it may not be necessary for you to do the stretches. It may not be necessary for you to do all your yoga stuff. It may not be necessary for you to do any of this stuff, and that you need to actually sit at home and freaking evolve. Allow your systems to relax a bit and recalibrate and regenerate. But that's not the purview of the holistic yoga type people or exercise people or professionals that are out there that are certified in these types of things. So, and so that's why I've been kind of focusing on the whole, when you're getting certified by the government, you're basically saying that you're proficient in taking away someone's life without destroying them at the macro level. That's the only reason why the government wants to have you certified in anything, is the fact that they know that what you're doing is taking away from somebody. And they want to make sure that what you're doing is not going to take away from them 100%. That, taking away incrementally is okay. And then the person will figure out how to add something to their life. But you are have to be, trained in how to take away percentages of somebody's life. And so this is where we must understand the illusions out there in the holistic allopathic and in the energy healing world and the exercise world and all of those worlds that are in the biohacking. And I'm focusing on this because, yeah, there's people that are trying to add me to their groups, and there's these self-proclaimed demigods that are selling lifestyles, and they also believe people should die someday. Okay, and that's the master of illusions, is when you take the pluses and the minuses and you create a third option, which is a new protocol that still ends up in death. You take that third protocol and you make it basically another composite, though it's rearranged a little bit differently, but it's still a composite of death. Okay, and so there is an actual third. There's a true third choice out there, which is indefinite life. Because, yeah, you have the trinity of, what is it? Trinity of something. Hold on. The trinity of lifespans. You have indefinite life, indefinite death, and then you also have the illusion of life. And so those in the biohacking, energy healing, all of those worlds, they are selling you the illusions of life. And so at some point, we have to look at what words they're using to sell you their program. And so again, if you're certified in any type of health and wellness, I don't care what it is, you're selling the illusion of life, of which the government is also selling the illusion of life, because that's all they know. They're the ones that taught you how to sell the illusion of life, of course. Okay, you're working with the government when you're certified in something. Now people are like, well, I'm not certified, but I'm still promoting my crystals and all of my yoga, and here's this. It doesn't matter. If the whole point of not of trying to mitigate pain and trying to, trying to promote the illusion of some kind of health and wellness without actually going through the process. And then you are not promoting indefinite life, and Jilly Juice is definitely not on your schedule of events. Then yeah, you're circumventing the government and you're still promoting the same thing they're promoting, but no, you're not certified. So that's why Jilly Juice is so different, is because we're promoting indefinite life. We're not promoting the illusion of life, and we're saying, yeah, you're going to feel pain. We're not trying to mitigate pain. We're not trying to mitigate evolution. We're not trying to make you look like you're healthy when you're not. We don't play that deception game, and that's so huge in the fashion industry. That's so huge in the health and wellness industry. That's so huge in the biohack energy healing world. That's so huge. At some point, when you are, because Jilly Juice is it's life. It's just life. And yes, there's indefinite life. There's the illusion of life, and then there's actual life. Yeah, you're alive, but you're practicing and taking away percentages of your life when you are taking part in the holistic allopathic world. And then you're using words to deceive people, to defraud them in some way. And so that right there is not okay with me, especially if you're in my Jilly Juice world. When you're promoting discrimination against food, you're playing into the marketing. That's the thing with marketing. It's all about deception. Marketing is mastering the illusions of what a person thinks they want based upon the belief system that they should die someday, but they should look a certain way before they die. See, that's the illusions out there that I'm trying to break down. And so I have to call out. I mean, I know I will not probably hear from these illusionists that are on my Jilly Juice. I hear from them through private messenger when they tell me a little testimony about their situation. But they're still buying into all that stuff about leaving this earth and going to another planet and doing whatever. And, I have to, throughout the last, this last year, I've had to go through and focus on all the different belief systems out there. I mean, I've been gathering data for the last 5 years. And when you gather that much data and you're not focused or starry-eyed about one specific data, then you're able to see things on an objective level and then see the deception and the words being used to promote something that is life-giving that is not. It actually, the end result is death. And so if I could give you the clues on the words that they use in politics, religion, and science, as well as, yes, the energy, healing, holistic allopathic world, then you can see the illusionists for what they are. And I'll tell you, the Greek gods taught us this. This is going to be my book, is that the fact that the Greek gods taught us the art of illusion. And that's one of the things that just a revelation to me within the last couple weeks, is the fact that the Greek gods were illusionists. Okay? And when you're a god, you are actually living indefinitely, right? Immortality, because the gods were immortal. They knew how to live immortal on this earth by eating the ambrosia, which is a sugar, the covalent bonding, and they were light. They were light. They were life. They had the energy, but they needed the covalent bonding to work and have the intelligence to put it all together. And so that's why there's a god of death. How can there be a god of death? If God means that you're living indefinitely, then how can you be a god living indefinitely that then is a god of death? And those are the people that do not give people the option to live indefinitely. They have the Jilly Juice, but they're not giving their flock, they're not giving their friends, their families, their clients any opportunity to live indefinitely. They're just trying to take away their life force. Not only financially, but also biochemically and intellectually. And so, yeah, if you're not adding something to somebody, you're taking something away from them. And that is riff in the biohacking, energy healing, holistic allopathic world. And if you have to get certified and you have a certification to do whatever that you're doing, you are then certified in destroying people at the micro level, because you're not supposed to destroy someone at the macro level, or else you go to jail, because that's called homicide. But when you are certified by the government to destroy people at the micro level, that ought to tell you a clue on what it is that they are promoting. They're not promoting life, because they ain't promoting Jilly Juice anyways. And they're definitely, they're doing Jilly Juice so they can be the god of death. That's the certification in our society, is they're using words to be the masters of illusion, and they're certified in destroying their friends and family. And I see that in my Jilly Juice world. And so I've been kind of harping on that, because that's not aligned with what it is that I'm about. Oh, I'm telling you, I have gone through so many people who claim to be a demigod in their little circles of groups and things that they promote as, oh yes, we're going to do a drum circle and do this. And they have very smooth language. There's a certain persona and a certain aura about them. You're just very much like, if you weren't a discerning person, you'd be caught up in that tractor beam of charisma. And so I've let go a lot of the charismatics out of my group. I can tell a charismatic because there's a certain way of being. There's a certain look that they're promoting. There's a certain persona they're promoting. And everything's about love, love, love. But I understand that some people are caught up in that, and they're trying to jadis, but they're not trying to sell a program. They're just trying to figure out how to juggle the world, the death world out there that is all about exercise and looking good and having a certain social construct. And then they're trying to do the jadis and look at that point of view of living indefinitely, potentially, if that's even their point, or trying to get to a certain look. And then maybe that's where they stop. As soon as they have their six pack and they reverse their issues, but there's some deeper seated issues that they don't want to deal with, they may stop at some point somewhere in the middle. There are some beautiful souls on the J Juice that I really want them to stay on the J Juice, but they might get caught up in the love, 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 and the charismatics that are out there. And the charismatics came out of the 1960s and the 1970s because of all the different drugs. And that's where the whole ayahuasca and the pot and all the different psychedelics come in. And this is where then you have the ascension crowd that are practicing a lot of the psychedelics, because they do promote ayahuasca. They do promote the drum circles and the charismatics and living off grid, not adapting to society. Instead of changing society, they put themselves apart as if they were different, but they're really the same. And so I can only speak my truth and then also the facts. There is very black and white facts about life and death, very black and white. And if you are certified by the government, and if you are promoting everything but J Juice, then yeah, you're a self-proclaimed, god of death, especially if you're doing J Juice. And so Jilly Juice will create the gods of death out there. I get that. And that not because Jilly Juice is killing them, it's because the person is going to do Jilly Juice and live indefinitely, and they're going to start sacrificing the people around them, the people that come into their business. Oh yes, you want to have a six pack and you're aging and degrading, and it's going to cost you $300 to join my group and my drum circle and my this and my that. And I'm going to teach you everything I know about stretching and about yoga and about meditation, about this and about that. And then that person's life force is being siphoned, not only their life force, but their financial, their bank accounts. And that's a double-edged sword on the people that partake in these types of masters of illusions. They're getting double whammy. They're getting double dipped. Not only is their energy and their body being depleted because of all the stretches and the yogas and the things that are being promoted in the diets and all that, but then they have to pay for their own destruction. And that's what happens in the holistic or in the allopathic world too. You pay for your own destruction. Chemotherapy doesn't come free. Health insurance doesn't come free. You got to pay a premium for your destruction. That's the illusion of life, is that you pay for your own destruction. And then there are the golems out there that, can't wait to get their hands on somebody who doesn't know any better. And that's the spells that are cast upon their clients, is that They are, they're using words that are subject to interpretation to sell an illusion, to sell a perception. Oh yeah, and you're cute, you're tall, you're cute, you have a six pack. Maybe you have, a bunch of kids, and they like how you take care of your kids, and maybe you have a nice house and nice clothes and beautiful language you say all over your Facebook, and you believe in nature and empath and biohack and plant-based everything, and oh my gosh, there is a persona to this. There is an actual tangible persona to some of these gods of death. And so, I just have to call a spade a spade. And yeah, they might leave my group, they might leave my world, and I'm okay with that because I don't need hypocrites. I really don't. Okay, I would like the people if you're going to be selling a lifestyle like life, then you're getting certified in the death process. At some point, there has to be a line of demarcation. The only way you can balance out the positive and negatives is the person brings in a life force of J juice and the food, and the intelligence of the body will determine what is being released and what is going to stay put. There is no certified professional that really should be determining what gets taken away from you. But there is an industry in that. And the government knows this. The holistic allopathic industry knows this. And that's the greed. It's not just money being greedy, but it's also people being greedy for social capital. It's also people being greedy for all of the love and all of the attention, and taking a person who is desperate, and you're now messing with their hormones with pretty language and messing with their hormones to make them feel pleasure, to make them feel like they're doing something when they're actually being destroyed. But the filmy words and the look, that's why they use, for these integrative nutritionists and all these different biohackers, and they're all young and pretty and cute. That's what they use as a face for their protocols, because it's easy to sell cute. You get a young person who has no idea what the hell they're doing, and they're like learning, how to biohack somebody, or how to get a six pack. That's the tractor beam. That's the charismatics. That's the charismatics methodology. Beauty is very subjective, and it's very much it's part of our landscape of social constructs. I even get caught up in it. But I mean, beauty is from the inside out, and it's something that is symmetry and staying alive. Because let me tell you, the beautiful people out there, especially in Hollywood, they're not doing Jilly juice. You see, eventually the body starts ravaging itself. The body starts cannibalizing itself. And then you can see years and years of being in the industry of being cannibalized by not only your fans, but also the industry. And so the poor actors that are being, I don't know, they're under the spell of money and power and fame. They're being extracted at the micro level, and eventually, they won't be able to keep up with that extraction, and then they go into all these different drugs, and then eventually pass away. So I want you to understand what these certifications are. It is a license to destroy someone at the micro level. And so there's got to be a line of demarcation. Now, I don't care if you're doing J-Juice and you're doing yoga, that's great. I don't really care. But it's those that are selling the holistic allopathic types of protocols. You are now showing your cards on what you truly believe in. When you get certified in something, that is a deed, a decree that you are the licensed, the god of death. Because you will do Jilly juice, you won't promote it, but you will still sell the death lifestyle. And you will cannibalize your clients until there's nothing left. But you'll sell them a perception, the illusion of life. And that right there is not okay with me. But what can I do? That's your personal issue. But I know who they are. Okay? And you could say, oh, I'm doing I'm telling you, those that are in those professions, whether it's a nurse, whether it's a certified massage therapist, whether it is a person that's selling, yoga or whatever as a pathway to indefinite life. Oh, but they don't want that. They want to look good. I'm selling them how to. You're in the health and wellness industry. And, that's the misnomer. I mean, if you really want to be honest, certification in death, that doesn't sell. So then you have to promote the illusion of life. And then that can't be really, that doesn't show real integrity. And Jilly Juice is about integrity. There are a lot of people in the past that have been propped up and used as a tool of worship, a way to be. And it's like being packaged, and these people are packaged with so much stuff, with both, positive and negatives, and they're used as a figurehead. And so you have them in politics, you have them in religion, and you have them in science. And so, yeah, you have someone like Albert Einstein that, yes, he devised the theory of relativity. He devised E equals mc squared, probably the same thing. And yet he died at some point. Well, that was not his point. His whole purpose was to, understand the piece of the whole, which I get. But when you're in the health and wellness industry selling the illusion of life, I don't care what it is. If you're certified or even not certified and you're promoting all of your crystal healing, you're promoting all of your whatever, it is like a lack of integrity, especially if you're in the J juice world. And I know it's going to be a process for those that are in those industries to get out of them. But some have no intention of getting out of those industries. Some want to do J juice and be that god of death and think that I'm going to be okay with that. Not that it really matters. Who cares what you think, Jillian? I know that. I know you don't care what I think because you're making money hand over fist selling the illusion. I get it. That's marketing. That is marketing hand over fist. And so, yeah, I mean, so when people ask me, well, why don't you collaborate with the holistic people? Because we're both selling totally, completely separate things. That's why my gut told me not to collaborate with anyone in the energy healing world, and not to collaborate with those that are selling the supplements and the cannabis and all the different things that destroy people at the micro level. And they're like, well, why? You're just being a separatist. You're being an isolationist. Well, at some point you have to have a conviction, and you have to have integrity in what you're promoting. I'm not going to sell my soul, but a lot of people have sold their soul. They sold their soul to the devil a long time ago, so to speak, if I'm going to speak in that kind of terms. I mean, that's a metaphor. Selling your soul to the devil is saying, okay, I say I'm promoting life, but I'm going to get certified in the death process. And when you are certified in the death process and you're trying to promote and you're trying to do Jilly Juice and be all chummy with me, ain't going to happen. And I hope you're watching this. I hope I don't hear from you unless you say, hey, I'm done with I'm done with being this. But no, there are people that are certified in the health and wellness, knowing exactly what they're doing, but they're going to rationalize, oh, well, it's a therapy. All therapy. It's the rape of the mind. It's the rape of the body. Therapy is the pathway to indefinite destruction. Hey, John, good morning. And so I have to be clear. What is it? Good day, Jillian. I know people personally that are doing this, and one of them actually used the words, I feel like a god, needed to say they're no longer my. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And that's the thing. And so that's what we're up against are the gods, the gods of death out there. And there's many of them. And you know what? Maybe, and here's the thing. Maybe it needs to happen because there are too many people on this earth that are unbalanced, and so are the gods of death. And I mean, and they're the ones doing Jilly Juice, and I have a conflict with that. I definitely have a conflict with that. And should everyone understand, Jilly? Should everyone stay alive? That's not for me to decide. If a person buys into the deception of someone's Anjali juice selling death, I guess I can't control that. But they can't. I still leave things. I mean, they don't. They're not promoting that in my group. They're doing Jilly juice, yes. Do we need these gods of death? That's something that we might know that is probably needed, but they're not going to look at that. Here's the thing, they won't be honest. This is what my issue is they won't be honest with their true intentions. That's the issue, is they will not be honest. Yeah, we need the gods of death because we need to have a balance on this earth. We can't have too many people taking up resources and not replenishing at an equal or more level. And so, and that's the thing is that maybe deception and selling the illusion of life is needed, but then you have to be honest with your intentions. And maybe that's really not, that's the conundrum with the J juice, is that we have integrity to say what we're doing, do what we're saying, say what we mean what we say. We don't, promote an illusion. We are who we are, and we're doing what we're doing. We're selling life, and we're not, raping the mind and the body of people. And so if you're going to be if you're going to be a god of death, then okay, I time to leave the group. I don't need to see it. There's plenty of people out there that are not part of my group that are probably, in the health and wellness industry or whatever, that are doing J juice and will not tell their clients or tell anyone about J juice because they feel like a god. And okay, but I just can't get with the deception. That's the thing, is the deception I have an issue with. Whether what they do is fine, okay? We have gods of death all over the place. But be honest with what you're doing. Oh, but they. So if we were to actually be honest, if you actually knew what was in the holistic allopathic world, if you actually knew what the intention was, would you buy it? And it's almost like this: the universe wants people to be deceived because the system promoted so much procreation. They promote so much procreation. And so now there has to be a balancing force. And so I guess, training little demigods to destroy their fellow man, well, I don't love it, but I can't not acknowledge that there is definitely a deception going on. I have to acknowledge it. But then people say, oh yeah, I want to live and I want my friends and family to live, but they're selling the death process. Okay. I can't get with that. If that's what you want to do, just take yourself out of my world. Don't, because we can't speak out of both sides of our mouth. We have to allow the intelligence of the body take away what is not needed. I don't want to pay someone to take away from my life. That doesn't make sense to me. But we have to see it for what it is. So that way those that have the ability to get it will then make a totally different choice. Those that don't, that's fine. The gods of death are all over the place. They are everywhere. They are all your gurus out there that are selling biohacking, like everywhere. And so my book is just going to be for those that have the ability to discern, that want to understand how this world works, and that want to have a choice. But let me tell you, when you actually break it down to life and death, they're not going to pick death unless they're at the 11th hour and they have nothing else. Then they're like, okay, I don't want to deal with the pain. But when someone is relatively viable, that may have some cancer, disease, and chronic illness, and you're like, okay, well, I have two things. I have the death pill and the life pill. Which one do you want? They're going to pick the life pill. Because if they actually pick the death pill, then what's the point, right? So those are the conundrums that I am seeing and dealing with. I had to really work. Thank you, John. I had to work that out because I'm like, what the heck? But it's what I have the issue with. Not so much that they're selling death, because that's everywhere. People are going to make their choices. But the deception behind what you're doing. But for us to scale down the population from 7 billion to 500 million, deception may be the name of the game. And so this is where us as Jilly Juicers, we will not deceive our friends and family. We will not deceive anyone. If you do, that's your own thing, but I'm not actively promoting any deception. But I want you to see it for what it is. When you're getting certified by the government in any health and wellness, you are promoting a deception, the illusion of life. And that's it. I don't care who and what you are or how much you were doing J juice, whatever. Okay? And I have to make that very clear. And so if you are in the health and wellness industry, whatever it is, most people are not really promoting J juice anyways or talking about it to me. Most people that are doing J juice are not in the health and wellness industry because they don't have that conflict. So they're free to say whatever. But those that are, they're not saying too much because they know there's a conflict. And I know there's a conflict. But, for us to scale down from 7 billion to 500 million, deception is the name of the game. But see it for what it is. All right. Bye.